What's good, motherfucking internet, YouTube homies, aka our partners? I just wanted to upload this video real quick to give you an idea about an idea that we're working on. So it's called Fun Conspiracy Theories. We did like a little brainstorming session. We just got on a fucking Zoom call and just fucking talked about a cool idea that we're thinking of doing. And I just thought it might be cool to put this up, have you see a little bit of the behind the scenes of the formulation of a new series. We're super excited about it. And, you know, if this kind of stuff interests you, then check it out, watch it, have fun.
Well, Jay, can I tell you the idea that we're thinking about for this thing that we got on the phone to talk
Yeah,
about?
yes, please.
Okay, so let's see. I have a lot of notes. So maybe the right place to start is I'll just tell you what is leading me to even bringing this to Andy in the first place, because it has to do with like stuff that we talk about a lot. And I already told you that fun conspiracy theories, but like Andrew's been telling me about like all kinds of shit recently that is like real, it's verifiable, like you can find articles about it, like it's undeniable. They're like it's real shit.
Wow.
And you know, we say wow, but it's shit that we all know about already. Like Jay disappeared. Why? There you are. And like the more and more like with all of this stuff happening, like the state of the world, like I just am feeling like fuck man, I can't just not talk about this stuff. And at the same time, I know how people approach things like this like dismissively, because there's like a bad uh, connotation around conspiracy theory, but in my opinion there shouldn't be, because conspiracies exist. Like if you've ever
Yes.
thrown a surprise birthday party, guess what? That's a conspiracy theory. Like
Yeah.
it's not a like people conspire all the time. Hey, don't tell Sarah that her birthday dress looks bad because it'll hurt her feelings. Guess what?
Well,
You just
yeah.
conspired. So but
Yeah.
my point there is that like there's like these hairy, like it's just hair around things like this. And but I can't, and so I know that in order to bring attention to this in a way that to things like this in a way that will be productive, you can't scare people, you can't like talk at them, you can't put them down, you can't make them feel like they're excluded. Like it has to feel like fun and comfortable so that it can be
You
digestible.
have to make it fun.
Yeah, and so that is what's taking us to fun conspiracy theories and doing a series
So
on
you want to go full Alex Jones.
no.
No.
You
Here's
want
the
to go
No.
thing.
full
Alex
Alex.
Jones, like this is, I would never do that.
Yeah, I
But
would
it's
never want to do
similar,
that either.
but it's different. And
No,
I'll tell
man,
you.
he's digging up the truth. He's got good sources. He's got
But the thing that
articles.
he
He
does is he
sticks them
makes
on the
you
table so
afraid
you know
constantly.
that it's real.
But he's
And
crazy.
I'm all here for it. But there's some conspiracy things that I love so much. Like the people that talk about Pleiadian and Andromedan alien
Oh yeah,
DNA,
all that
two
stuff.
completely different
Holy shit.
galaxies, and like they came to Earth to
David
like
Icke.
fuck chimps and like create pyramids and then just bounce for no reason.
See,
You
that
Yeah.
know?
sounds deniable though.
So it is, and
Okay.
people just eat it up, but they point to the mystical origins, and so
Yeah,
there's
no.
a step of belief. So those people, I'm gonna like critique all day. I will
Yeah,
do
yeah,
some
yeah.
fucking mental karate on their ass, and
No, our
just like
focus is
really,
on the
really
undeniable though.
press.
I want to emphasize that. The
So
focus is
that's fantastic. I mean, if you can have a critical eye that's also open, you're not
But
gonna just
here's
dismiss it because it's a conspiracy. So I hear that. I mean, in the activist scene back in the day, we used to
yeah.
have a saying, "Are your pants off?" And what that was code for,
Pants on fire?
do you have a phone on you? Because
A phone
you
on
could,
you? Yeah.
yeah, do you have a phone on you? Because there were people that were getting charged with stuff with phone records because they could listen through your phone, and then you'd end up with conspiracy charges, and you never committed a crime, but you
Wow.
had fired to maybe do a direct action protest, for example.
Hmm.
So people had to be really careful. So conspiracy is a real thing.
Yeah.
from the small to the big. So I love the angle of it. And
Well, we haven't got into the
I used to
angle.
be a
Let's just hear Jay real quick.
Well,
All right.
I used to be a 9/11 truther, and there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
And I still think that there's a lot of questions open to that. That's something that I want to continue to explore. Personally, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. That argument has fallen away for me, because I've seen some engineers do some really quality case studies of how, well, it doesn't have to reach the melting point in order for the structure to reach a terminal level of damage. So that just, testing the truth and plotting along different lines. And then, let's end up with ARs in a pizza shop. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day,
Well, this is why the undeniable, like, I'm trying to put the emphasis there. Like, it has to be
I guess that's where I disagree. Like, maybe we're not on the same page then.
Me and you, Andy?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the list of stuff that we have, some of it you kind of have to draw some lines a little bit, but Operation Paperclip.
Well, no, but this is what I'm saying. The whole point of it to me is not to be like, this is truthful information, this is right, this is what you should believe. The whole point of it is like, this is stuff where, like, look, there has a lot of support behind it. There's a lot of evidence. But it's
that
still, like, we don't know. And it's about presenting it in a fun, crazy way. Like, to me, the show that's good that makes it appealing to me is the presentation. It's not like in making it fun and crazy and the characters you were coming up with. And you didn't explain any of that stuff.
And so maybe let's get into that a little bit.
And it's not supposed to be like Alex Jones, because Alex Jones creates fear in people. This is not supposed to create fear at all in people. It's supposed to just be like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Like, what the fuck? And like, but then also talk about other like philosophy and stuff like Lao Tzu and other types of things like that. Just like all this stuff in the crazy Alex Jones type pile, but creating a different emotion. So it's all like a hodgepodge of real stuff, kind of what Alex Jones does. But the whole motion that creates in you is way different and like fun and wacky and positive and psychedelic.
And I'm gonna write this down real quick, but like it's like how have you ever heard, like, for a kid, in order to make a pill, like in order to make them swallow a bitter pill, like you have to make it sweet, kind of thing, So it's like kind of that.
That makes a lot of sense. So if Alex Jones is a low vibrational way to do this, then we would be the medium to high, goofy, nice, kind, fun vibrational way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Why do you look at that as medium to high versus low compared? Just curious.
Well, Alex Jones would be low, so in the New Ager, Anunnaki believing, Thoth believing, not understanding basic physics sense.
Yeah.
The low vibration is like anger and
fear.
Anxiety. Fight or flight, just that tense, like. But then, when you get up to higher states of consciousness frequency, then you are outside of yourself and you're together as one with the universe, and sort of in that singularity, which without fear, because what is there to be afraid of? You are merged with everything, right? So the wolf eating you is actually you, right?
And I'm writing down stuff as you're talking. That's what seeing me look at my phone.
Yeah.
Because I want my mom to be able to see this. I want my grandma to be able to be like,
nice.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. So it should be fun. And so maybe let me tell you. Go ahead.
So on a scale between Ancient Aliens and World Bank data, where would this fall?
World Bank.
Nice.
So let me give you some examples. And Andy, you know more about these than I will because you're the one who's telling me about them. But Operation Paperclip, that one is about the Nazis that were hired from Germany post World War II or during World War II?
Yeah, but I just want to say before getting into all this real quick, is to me, like, okay, everything you're about to list is real serious stuff. We can get into all that. but that's not the interesting part. Like, we do need to talk about that, but to me it's about being funny and making it hilarious and like almost not like Adult Swim necessarily, but like crazy, like just fun, like YouTube, like it's got to be fun.
That's
Beautiful.
fine. But Jay's asking about like on a scale, is it on Ancient Alien scale or like World Bank scale? So I'm just trying to give him some examples.
Oh,
So-
I think like way more,
So
like
I
not
get it.
really Ancient Aliens. It's
No,
like
but
rap.
yeah, I'm hearing both of you. So like the content is real. It's grounded in reality.
Right.
And that's what I think you mean by the World Bank. It's the World Bank. But then Andy, you're saying, but the presentation is going to be this like fun and engaging way to present the material, which I think is it's a perfect blend. It's also very original because most people on these channels are very serious and they're very concerned. There's a certain tone, and that's seductive.
And
that's
then if people want to investigate it more, they can go into those channels.
Yeah, because
Right.
you want to provide like
Yeah.
ways to look into it further. Well, and let me then give you I think the primary example here, Jay, because we were talking about characters, and so the main, like one of the characters we have now, one of the key characters is Andrew, the King of Nuance, and so Andrew, the King of Nuance, wears a tinfoil crown. The crown receives transmissions, and when the crown receives transmissions, he goes like 1 second, 1 second, you know, something like I'm receiving a transmission. You know, and no one else is more nuanced than Andrew, the King of Nuance. And then sometimes the King of Nuance operates in binaries, meaning like he draws like hard, like mutually exclusive lines that's not very nuanced. So,
Nice.
yeah, so that's like the main,
That's one of the
key characters, because it'd be Andrew, and obviously he's going to be a big part of it. And then another one that we're talking about is the Crazy Clown Prospector. So he's Crazy Clown Prospector, obviously.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so he's just yeah, he's just a crazy
Cool.
Like I imagine it like we're like a radio show from like another universe, and we're like somehow getting like received here, and like like I don't know, just weird shit like that, you know, like
yeah.
Well, I got the green screen too, which would be good.
Yeah, you have to get a green screen.
Yeah.
Like we probably will buy one because we need it, and I'm getting a house.
I have one, just so you know.
Well, but
nice.
Is it transportable or is it like set up kind of thing?
Well, what it is it's a roll of green fabric. It's like a waxy fabric kind of, and there's a case. You can break down the stands and pack it all into basically a bag you can throw over your shoulder. So it's pretty portable. It takes a little bit to set up and break down.
Yeah, because we're going to need one that I think is set up all the time. Don't you, Mark?
It would be nice to have.
I agree. Just so that we can do shit whenever we're ready to, kind of thing, without having to worry about coordination.
Have like a full-time
Yeah, and it's not that expensive.
No, it's not.
Mine was $30, and it came with the whole 3-point light setup and everything.
Oh wow,
so that's extremely affordable. What the fuck, $30?
Really? Yeah, that's really insanely cheap.
That's nothing. Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, because we were talking about equipment. Like Andrew wants to get crazy lights and stuff like that. So
I think in Marvin's head, he thinks all this stuff is way more expensive than it actually is.
Mine works well. It works fine. You know, it gets the job done. It's not great. The lights aren't incredible, but you know,
it's better than nothing.
Well, it's not about
the umbrellas.
Time.
Yeah. So
the time and resources needed to really take an idea seriously and bring it to a relatively decent level of production is.
But lighting in video is like the most basic, key, important factor.
Yeah,
it's really important. Like,
just that consistency, a little bit a week. You know, just work on it a little bit a week, and it builds, and you know, suddenly
we're doing it, man. I released this video last night, and I got 2 subs out of it like right away, and I did like
fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
So just continue to do it.
Do you think you need a better name though than Fun Conspiracy Theories?
That's fine. I mean, that's just like it just says what it is. That's all. we'll come up with different names that will speak to
But
it.
I think it would be cooler to have like an actual name for like.
Yeah, that's fine too.
If you think of anything, yeah, let us know. For now, I think Fun Conspiracy Theories is fine because it says what it is, and what it
Yeah,
is very unusual, you know?
but it is
Like,
needs to be very
see things
clear.
very like known about. Like, okay, I know what I expect from conspiracy theories. They're not
Right?
fun, but
Yeah,
you're saying fun conspiracy theories? What is
But
that?
that's the thing that I feel like the straightforwardness is a little bit why I don't like it as much as
well,
like
but I
something just
think
like
that's why it'll
Fun
appeal
Channel.
to people. It's kind of like, and Jay's been talking to me about this a lot, and I've had to warm up to it, but I now am really starting to strongly agree that, like, because I've been trying to figure out how do I present honest lyrics, for example, that people can resonate with, because I'm not good at that. And what he just told me is very simple. It's like, just be honest and straightforward. So if you feel sad, just say, I feel sad, and then I've been doing that. And I think it's actually helping in a lot of ways with like the current crop of music.
But then
That
what's
There's
the point of poetry? Like, isn't poetry about like like using language to express like everything that is
no,
not able to be said straightforwardly, and
it
that there
it
are
it,
many things like that?
it is. You're absolutely right. But in poetry, the only medium is the word. But when you get into something like a multimedia, like a video, music, and words on top of it, there's so much mud in reality that we have to wade through every day through our notifications, our texts, and
And I agree. So
absorbing
I just
information.
think there's a medium ground between what we're both saying.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
I just think
there
fun
is.
that's why
Yeah,
we're challenging you to think
could
about it.
be maybe we should have other options before fully settling on that one. I don't hate it, and I do agree with the points that are the qualities they're saying about it.
That's where think
cool.
about it. This is something we can think about.
Yeah.
I don't think there's more that needs to be talked about there. We can think about it, and I'll challenge you to
Like
think.
in my mind, like I keep thinking Space Channel 5, even though that's a video game, but like
I think that could
something
be a setting within the universe, but as
okay.
far as like a title of a program, having that be very clear, I think for YouTube really does matter. It's called the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, it does. No, and especially for YouTube.
Yeah, call it It Channel 5 or anything that's like abstract. It's just
No, and also that would just come up with video game stuff. Yeah, and you're right. The abstractness doesn't work with the algorithm.
But people
Until
Yeah,
you're already like big.
theories. The people wouldn't type fun conspiracy theories, but like I can imagine someone saying, "Hey, have you seen fun conspiracy theories?" And they're like, "What's that?" Oh, it's this channel on YouTube, or is this video on internet?
The problem with the thing is like conspiracy theories, because I feel like that pigeonholes us and it's limited.
I don't think so, because conspiracy theories is a vast universe of shit that includes like Anunnaki, breathalyzing DUI aliens,
It
and
doesn't feel like it's like as accurate as it could be, though, right? If you're
it's
trying
a
to be
broad
truly
universe. It's an incredibly vast and wondrous universe, I think.
well, but what's the alternative, you know? So not calling it conspiracy theories, but
Yeah.
then calling it what?
Well,
Just
there's
like,
a channel that I follow that I love that's really similar, and they're called Mysterious Universe.
I love
I don't
that.
know
okay,
Channel. Yeah.
I
yeah,
love that channel, and like I love their name.
that's a good name too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That is a good name, and it tells you what it is. Mysterious Universe. Yep. Yep.
they're
Yeah.
like kind of what we are talking about, like these silly Australian dudes who like talk about all these conspiracy theories, but they joke about it the whole time. They're just like, this is so crazy. Like what? They don't know what to believe, but then they also get serious because one of them is like an actual biologist with a PhD. The other one's, I don't know, a dude, but
Yeah.
whatever. But it's like they do what I think we're talking about. Like they're a good model. But I want to make it more like YouTube-y. They're just a podcast, and I want to have like cool lights and editing and like make it super like
Fun.
psychedelic.
Psychedelic.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
So you guys are moving into a spot together. Do you have space in your spot to create a studio where you can have the screen set up and maybe you have some lights?
Yeah,
Just
we have a whole
set up?
house. We have an extra bedroom.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do that, then you have the opportunity to do that. And there's green screen paint too, if you really want to get serious about it. But maybe that's a ways off, you know. But I'm happy. Like, you're welcome to set up mine there. The limitation with mine is that it's
They'll
a little
just
bit.
buy one if it's $30.
Yeah, look for the size. Mine is too small, and I know that sounds crazy, but really,
I can spend $100. It's fine.
yeah. Mine was like 30 by 10 or something like that.
The green screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of size, and I was finding that it was hard to get my full body in it. It was hard to zoom out with just that. So anyway, something to play around with. And
yeah, dude, if you want to make a character something or think of a character to be on the show, then you should. Like, that would be
in general.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to.
Because that's what I want to sell the show, is the characters and the people, not really the information.
Cool.
I think that's what gives it longevity.
In terms of a character, I would probably just be like an extreme caricature of myself. And I think I'm kind of ridiculous as it is, but I would just overblow it.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's really
fine.
good.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because Andrew is Andrew, the King of Nuance, so it is like an over like.
Yeah.
That's why it works so well. Like, I feel like this character is easy.
Yeah, and he wears a tinfoil crown, like, you know, so that's sick. And he
that is sick.
Yeah, you can make your character have weird powers and weird things too. Like,
yeah.
I love it.
It's just fun. I don't have anything for myself yet, but what I was writing,
have like powers. I feel like all the characters should have weird powers.
Every time I cast a fishing line, a fish comes in.
That's actually hilarious.
I wish, that. Man. That would be a sick power.
Jay, what about if you were Baby Jay and like you play up, not always, but just sometimes, like you play up like the, you know, cause you know how when I answer the phone for you, I'm like, hey, what's up, Baby Jay? Like, I'm just kind of, that's my impression of you. Like, it's really slow, even though you're not really slow.
Oh, you're imitating me every time?
Yeah, it's like, cause you know how you're so like chilled and like.
I never fucking realized that. That's
what did you think it was?
I thought that you were just having fun.
Well, I am just having fun.
You didn't know where it came from.
No, but I didn't make the connection that you were trying to like get on my vibe. You know what I mean?
Well, because when I call you, that's like how you'll be like so chill and be like,
"Hey, what's up, dude?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just chilling. So you want to work on something today?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So I think if you played that up, that could be cool. Like, but
I
like
would love
really exaggerated. Not always, but just when.
What do you think your look would be exaggerated? Like the extremist caricature. And surreal.
I'm not sure. Getting surreal, huh?
I don't think it necessarily needs to be surreal. So, but I know what he. But yeah, kind of like, because kid shows, if you think about it, are surreal.
But I'm saying at least think within that realm.
I've got some pretty crazy clothes and stuff that I could wear that could be pretty wacky. So
like a flower child or like a.
Yeah, that's
exactly. I have so many like rainbow bandanas, weird Russian hats, and like weird like necklaces and stuff like that.
I can't wait. This is gonna be so good.
Yeah, no, that's
then
perfect.
You just come in, you're like, hey, what's up,
like
man?
Weird, yeah.
Like, no,
but
dude,
you should make a title for yourself.
I mean? Like, sorry, there's two people talking at once. Go ahead, Andy.
You should have a title and a real character, though, like eventually.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Baby J. That's the title. And you're like, and the reason,
It's a great one. Yeah.
well, you grow to like you will live until you're 5,000, and right now you're like 50.
What
So
about Baby Blue Jay?
Baby J. So you're like an actual baby, like child, but you're like clearly an
Blue
adult.
Jay is a bird.
I'm on my 5,000th reincarnation out of a million.
Yeah. So you're a baby.
Ganesh at the beginning said, "Hey, you're gonna go through some shit. Here you go," and then he flicked me like you're flicking the bean, and then
Yeah, that's great. Everything you just said is good.
The karmic wheel over and over again.
I'm writing this down, and I'm glad we recorded
That's
that. So I
perfect.
can go
No,
back
that's
to
good.
I live on the 500 year out of like I'm just gonna write general out of a million because we're gonna go back and listen to this. But Ganesh told you that you're gonna have some trials.
Yeah, I love the Ganesh story. Like, that's funny.
Yeah.
And just like with that delivery and that story, and that's why you're like a baby. So yeah, I'm a baby, you know. So you're a baby.
Yeah,
Baby.
he's actually 7
You
years
don't wear
old. Like,
diapers. You like just wear like because you're a 32-year-old man or whatever. So, but you're a baby. You're like.
I'm a man, but spiritually, I'm a little baby. I'm a little baby. And I'm learning about the universe. Like, wah, no. Or I'm like, ooh, wow. That's
no,
pretty
exactly.
cool.
This is where it needs to go. Like, this level of insanity. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. And it's also and it's probably true.
Yeah, I know,
That's the
right?
thing. Everything might be true. Probably true.
Yep. I've definitely been down that road before in my brain.
So isn't that fun to go back there again just for fun this time?
It is. It is.
And to bring it to people so they can be like, hey, that's fun and funny.
Yeah.
What if we just call it InfoWars 2?
We'll get in trouble. Otherwise, I'd probably down for that.
Dude, man, having Alex Jones have a personal vendetta against you must be
Dude,
so...
we should make him our rival. We should call
really
out Alex Jones for like instilling
Alex
fear
Jones
for
is
the real
the
reasons
big
he needs to be called out.
conspiracies.
No.
Conspiracies.
No, Jay, listen. This is how we call him out in a genuine, actual way. The way he needs to be called out. Like, he's talking about real shit, and he's skewing it and making everyone afraid, and he's deterring people from looking at things that are really important. Like, we got to call him out. Like, it's not the content that he's providing that's bad. It's his presentation.
Well, you know...
And he does it because he's just trying to make money, and it sells his fucking supplements. And he's a piece of shit for doing that. Because he knows the truth, and he doesn't care.
I'm a man.
You know? So we got to make him our rival.
Sorry, I swam 2 miles and ate a big steak last night.
No, he's going to be our fucking enemy. But we love him. But it's like he's hurting the cause.
He's hurting the cause. Sorry, I get amped up sometimes when I work out and I eat like a man.
Well, and that's actually
this night I swam 2 miles.
because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we were like. What was it that we were talking about, Andrew? That basically because you can't really talk to people about this because they're not going to just listen to you, and like the whole
there's stigma.
Yeah, there's stigmas. And so like you really want and so what I was really talking to Andrew about was like, man, Andrew, I really want to talk to people about this stuff. But I know that like, you know, you can't just like people don't want to talk about this. So
it's like you want to get a child high, but you can't do it overtly. So you put the THC gummies in the Halloween candy.
What the fuck are you talking about? This is not about abusing children and getting them high.
Yeah, we don't want to we want to talk to people about something.
This is a metaphor, and you don't take it literally.
Well, I appreciate the
metaphor. This is a disturbing metaphor.
Well, maybe not.
This-
Maybe Tylenol. I think you meant to say like
Tylenol.
the child has a cough, and he hates the Robitussin, but it's good for him. So I have to like blend it
So
into
you
the.
sit in with a little bit of apple juice, right?
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the kid goes to sleep, and you're like, finally, I got some peace of mind.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's mommy's ritual every Thursday, so she can go out with the girls.
Some point.
Okay,
Some point.
Casey Anthony.
Yeah. Yep. So exactly. So it's long because, that's I was just really like I really feel strongly that that's something that is worth taking the time to do. But having fun with it is just the key of it, and that's
Yeah.
what I started.
Comedy is the key. It really is, because when you think about like what is the job of the comedian? What do they do? What does Bill Burr do? What did Richard Pryor do? What does Dave Chappelle do? They tell the truth. They're literally just telling straight up truth and making it funny. And that's the key to enter, like to get. It's like comedy is such a powerful way to open people up to receive information.
That's absolutely correct, and I'm glad you bring up Bill Burr. I was listening to his podcast yesterday, and he was telling a story about how he was laughing while he was telling the story, and the story was a comedic story, and he's telling a story about him laughing about what was happening. And so he's telling the truth of what happened, and he just finds that truth funny to begin with. And so he takes that and then tells other people it. And then because he finds it funny, the way that he delivers it, other people find it funny too. So there's this guy on a plane that thought that he was going to like blow up the plane for whatever reason. Because this guy next to him was fucking crazy, and he got really drunk, and he was probably high on something else. And Bill Burr's sitting there, and like he's like cracking up in the plane while it's happening. And so he's just already seeing the comedy and the insanity of the world. And then sharing that with the rest of us is fucking hilarious.
Right.
So, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
I
agree, dude. Bill Burr's my favorite comedian.
Me too. I can't get enough.
I'm so glad Marvin and I got to see him live.
Yeah.
Sorry, two people, but yeah, Andrew's happy you got to see him live. Jay, I missed what you said.
Oh, I just been listening to his podcast a lot these days.
Good, huh? Yeah, got it. I love his ads. I love his advertisement readings.
Yeah.
Like the MeUndies, for example.
Yeah.
The zip.
Yep.
Like I love that. So I could. Well,
do you like when his wife goes on the podcast?
Yeah.
I love when she's on it. She always like roasts him, and I love it. And I like how she like checks him, and like she's argues with him, and then he'll like roast her, and I'm like, damn, you said that to your wife, and then but she's okay with it. Like I love it.
Well,
yeah, they have this like respect there.
Yeah.
That is really good.
And it's not like she's not quick on the up herself. Sometimes, not always, because she's clearly not a professional comedian. But
she's got it a little. Like
yeah,
she's his wife for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it, because like he wouldn't just put up with someone he can't like fucking be himself.
No, and you're always trying to say sorry and I didn't, and he'll never do that. He'll be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't want someone that is as broken as him to be that good of a comedian. Like he needs someone that's like a little bit more secure and stable. Because you know what I'm saying? The cost of being funny is you have to be insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a cost to it. That's why comedians commit suicide at like an exponentially higher rate than like any other profession. It's really disturbing.
That's pretty disturbing, yeah. But it makes sense. Like, cause it's like
it makes complete sense. That's what I'm saying. There's a cost to the funniness, and it's such a weird thing to measure because we can look at. We don't have a real explanation for it, or
and I want to learn how to balance it because, like, I feel that, like,
But I mean, there's no real scientific explanation for it, but it's a phenomenon we all accept and observe. Like what
no
is
scientific
funny
explanation?
And
I feel like
how funniness gives up the ability to, like at a certain level, you get so funny that it makes your rate of suicide way higher. Why is that? We don't know.
Well,
We don't need.
like I'm funny, and I think I have a pretty high chance. Just thinking of myself in
That's
relative
what I mean.
terms. Even though
All
it's
the
a low
funniest.
chance, it's still like a high chance, like in compared to other people.
Yeah, and so one of the conclusions, or I think that we can make from that is humor is a defense mechanism against painful, emotions and things that we go through.
I think that's
And
right.
so people that have experienced a lot of pain, and then they also have that like trains that mechanism in their brain, the funny part, and then they get really, really good, but it only comes from pain.
Yeah. I
And
think
if
Bill
you
Burr,
stop
like
having pain, then you stop being funny.
I would admit that, and I thought about that, and I feel like, in an alternate reality where I'm like, not disabled and like my eye works very well, shit like that, I'd probably be a
Yeah.
different person. But then I also think of my family, and they're very crazy and funny. So, like, and my brother Chris, he's also super funny, but he's also super super funny because of me. And pain isn't just a
Yeah,
disability.
he's not on the same level as you. Well, no,
Really,
he's pretty funny. He's pretty funny, but not.
I feel like
Yeah,
he's on a different level in some ways.
he is. Yeah, and in some ways it's because he doesn't have as much pain. Like there's a balance.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
But the point is,
sometimes your comedy gets so bitter. His is always like
yeah,
cheerful.
yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah,
You
but
know.
I'll also admit that I used to be like a very bitter person. I think that still comes across in the humor because it can be cynical. But I definitely don't think I was the cynical person that that I was like way back, like for sure. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
when you first told me about your suicide pact with yourself, you told me about it, and then you went, you looked at me all crazy, and then we had band practice, and I was like, okay,
well, because it's
cool.
just like what else?
And you
So if
live,
I,
die
yeah,
on your tattooed on your like that is a sense of humor right there.
yeah,
Like you didn't totally seriously like somberly tattoo a gravestone with your own name on it onto your arm. Like there was layers of comedy there for you
yeah,
doing that. I don't even have to ask you
right,
because I just know. And yeah, it's real also.
yeah.
And so you laugh. I laugh in the face of danger. For
Jake,
that scene, The Lion King, the original Lion King, before they fucked it up with that stupid fucking CGI.
yes.
Yeah,
Then the
Simba and
hyenas come out,
the
right?
hyena there.
Yeah.
I laugh in the face of danger, and then danger laughs at him
Yep.
back.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just us constantly,
It's powerful, man.
No,
It's,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? No, you know what's the most powerful scene in The Lion King?
Huh?
Remember who you are.
uh,
Yeah.
was
In
that
the scar,
at
right?
the clouds in the sky, and then
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
that's the message.
yeah. It has a
To
lot of like,
me, there's a phrase. It's called amnos. Oh my god, I'm too drunk. Amnesius or
good job.
amnosis.
Amnesia?
No, it's the opposite of amnesia. It's
Huh?
it's a Platonic phrase because Plato talks about how all knowing is remembering, and so there's a word for that, and it's called like amnesia. It's something with like it's like amnesia, but it's a different way to say it.
Huh?
But the concept is remembering and like how important it is, and like that it's not just your past. It's like it's in your DNA what you need to remember.
Yeah.
You know. Like, and when you think about like savants and stuff, how do we explain that? And like people that are like 5 and just know how to play piano perfectly, I think they had like a little hack into like their DNA code to where at some point somebody knew how to do that, and they just unlocked it.
The research.
Yeah, it would seem something like that definitely does happen. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Oh, I've read a lot of research on that, just from being in college and choosing certain electives, but it's a really interesting field of study. A lot of people don't really have it pinned down on why that happens or how it happens,
Well,
but we know who it happens to.
people. Yeah.
Mozart was one of them.
The prodigy stuff in certain fields and stuff is prone to be on the autism Asperger's spectrum. And it's like your brain, instead of being socially hardwired, it becomes almost mechanically hardwired. And so you understand information just a little bit differently than most people. Most people were going to register it and categorize it in relation to a sense of self related to other, related to community. And folks on the spectrum are a little bit less regulated in that way and more regulated in like systems information.
Okay,
so
that's just so fascinating, though.
No, it is. And that's a very good point that Jay makes. And I think that especially when it comes to like musical savants that have a motor ability, that could be explained that their brain just learned how to do that super quickly. And it doesn't have to do with like remembering past lives. However, there's still cases like people like Ramanujan, this, you know him, the famous Indian mathematician who like created like all this crazy math that was not trained. He said that it came to him through Ganesh, actually. But
nice.
No, but seriously, and then so I do think that yes, that there could be both things happening at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Plato and a lot of these people talk about remembering as, or knowledge as remembering, and in some ways I do feel like it's like we're not born in a vacuum. We're born with DNA code that is like real code, like that came, even if you believe in evolution, like that single cell, like all this information is in there. So
yeah, I mean, I can't see how that couldn't be true if you just think of everything as data, which, you know, I do think
exactly
data at the end of the day, and data can be transferred and copied.
Well, you know, I don't mean to keep, you know, hogging the conversation and droning on and stuff, but just on that point in population genetics, what they've noticed is that you can actually, through your social environment, will trigger turning on a gene in your DNA from a social environment. But when you pass on your genetic code, you'll pass that DNA as triggered on. Whereas before in your family line, it was there, but it was latent. It wasn't turned on. But then you pass it on in the on state. So you have a genetic memory of like trauma. So if you look at populations that have recently, and by recently I mean in the last 10 to 15 generations, gone through something like slavery or extreme conditions of genocide or famine or whatever it is, you can have these sort of on switched genes that are passed down. So people talk about ancestral trauma being passed down through genetic memory. And the other side of that argument is it turns into a racist argument of like, well, this race and this, you know, this color has gone through this, and so they're more prone to this. So it's this whole volatile world in this where the social sciences meets biology and population genetics, in the study of race and the reproduction of racism through the study of genetics. And all these things. It's a wild world to step into. A really great book.
That's completely captivating.
Decolonizing Methodologies by, I think, Kim Tallbear, is a really, really critical look at all of it. She looks at Ancestry.com and 23andMe and all of this stuff, and in sort of the sociology of genetic science and all this stuff.
Do you guys mind if, because, wait, by the way, everything you just said, Marvin, did you write that name down of the woman you mentioned?
No.
Well,
Kim Tallbear. Kim Tallbear.
Anyways, I would write it down, but then I can't because my notes are on my phone and I'm using Zoom. But I do want to, like,
real quick. Give me one second.
Tiny bit of a sidestep, but a tangential one, because I think it's connected, and I just want to see what Jay thinks about this, because there's this woman from Stanford who she was a psychologist, and she did a bunch of studies on schizophrenia. And the approach that she took to it was she wanted to study.
What was her name?
Jay, tell him the name of the woman.
No, the one you were talking about, Andy.
Oh, I don't know her name right now off the top of my head. If you look up Stanford woman experiment schizophrenia, you'll find her fucking name.
Stanford woman schizophrenia.
But the point that I'm trying to make is what she discovered I thought was so profound and powerful, and no one talks about it. But what she discovered was the quality of hallucinations in schizophrenic people that are diagnosed by doctors in India and in America are completely different. And so, for instance, what she discovered was in American schizophrenics, like 99, it was like a huge percent, 99% of the time, or maybe 95, a ridiculous amount, the thoughts were negative and self-harming, telling them to do like very intrusive negative thoughts. And in India, it was completely the opposite, where like it was actually interesting because there was still it was like 23% of the people that had it was like negative thoughts, and then the rest of it was like positive thoughts. But just the fact that like, and it's like, why is that happening? And so then you have to look at like cultural reasons.
Yeah.
And especially because you have to think about what is schizophrenia even.
Right. Is it like, where do you draw the line between? So I just want to interject again.
Yeah, go on.
There's this guy that was prone to having seizures in, I think, the amygdala or something like that. It's a gland in the brain next to the hippocampus in the center that's responsible for deep emotional meaning getting attached to memory. So while your brain is storing long-term memory, hippocampus, it's also attaching emotional sensations through the amygdala, and you would have these recurring seizures through the amygdala, and these guys were trying to like fix it for him, right? It was a form of seizure, and he said, you know what, I don't want to actually be cured through meds with this, because I feel like every time I'm having this, I'm having a connection to God, and I'm having a connection to reality and nature. So the physiological short circuit of the wiring there corresponded to a spiritual and metaphysical sense of transcendence for him. And then when you have people with schizophrenia basically is a live wire. It's shooting, all these connections in the brain. And so, yeah, what is your brain trained to? Are you, I don't know really where to go from there, but it's like,
well,
I
know where to go from there a little bit, because this gets down to the hard problem of consciousness. And like specifically what I mean by that is do we generate it? Does the brain create consciousness through its complexity, or is the brain a receiver of consciousness? And I think that the receiver has more credit, and especially when we think about mental illness, because I think things like schizophrenia, I think our brains are filters more so than anything else. And the reason, here's evidence for this. We know ultraviolet light exists.
Cool. I'm ready to just real quick.
The reason that they're filters is because we have already developed scientific instruments that are basically extra senses that our brain doesn't use. So like things like ultraviolet light, infrared, like all these different things that we don't have the perception, but we know that these things exist. Okay. So clearly our brains they're filters of reality, because we don't experience the fullness of it. And we've already proven parts of it exist that we don't experience. All right. And so I think what happens in schizophrenia is part of your filter is broken, and you start receiving like true, real signals of things that are happening that most people don't. Because if we were to, then we couldn't operate in the way that we're supposed to operate. And this also implies that like your free will is limited. It definitely is limited. We're part of a giant organism, a giant ecosystem, and we, just like the cells in your body, they could go rogue and become cancerous, or they can serve your body. So are we. So there's a choice, but it's limited. And the more we align ourselves with nature and with the Godhead, the more we feel good, because God feels good. And that's what we want to do, because we're not separate. Anyways, that's where I'm going. I got to end this tangent, but.
No, I hear you. One thing I might tack on is that yeah, it's broken, and you might be receiving things that other people normally would they would filter out, so to say, right? Like you can get into a thought thread when you're crazy that other people, they would like start to go down it, and they're like, nope, I've got a stronger, healthier pathway this way that's going to guide my attention and my mental energy this way. But a schizophrenic person might go whoop, and then like go on this like crazy, you know, wild ride.
But it's not by choice.
Can I tell you an experience?
They're just receiving like too much information for their.
Well, I think I have an experience that I've personally had that I can actually relate to what you're saying, Andrew, because I think it's more, if I'm understanding correctly. Oh, what the fuck? Right when I'm gonna tell him about this experience, Andrew steps up to me like, hold on, I can't. It's like, that's so rude.
Oh, nigga, oh well.
Oh wow.
Oh, you dropped that.
You just ruined this podcast for me. Call it forever. But here's my.
I'm ruined.
It's ruined. Let me tell you about this experience that I had on mushrooms, though, because, like, I think it speaks to what you're saying. That's like, because this one, like, when you say a filtered kind of, I relate to it when I think about this experience. What happened was when I was on mushrooms, I heard this sound that I've been trying to hear again, and I don't know if I ever will hear it again, but it was perfect, and it hurt. Like, I can't describe the sound, but it was like the loudest thing possible, literally.
Wait, Marvin, I gotta stop you.
Why?
I was really, because one, I gotta tell you, I got really paranoid. I was like, fuck, you can't drop. Like, anyways, we have to edit that part out of the video. I want you. Yeah. Can you just start over so I can focus on what you're saying?
Oh, you're really flipping out about that?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Because it's recorded. Look,
yeah, dude, we're not gonna put that on the internet, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do want to learn.
We've got each other's backs in this. We're not here to like, you know, fucking.
Dude, AOC is calling to like talk. Like, I'm just concerned about anything.
Yeah, no, I feel you. No, yeah, we will. So, but let me tell you the experience that I had on mushrooms, because I've been trying to I relate to what you're saying about like the brain or consciousness as kind of like a brain as a filter of like a reality, like consciousness kind of being a filter of reality, I guess is what you're saying. And so on mushrooms, like I had this sound that I heard, if I can call it a sound, because where's Jay? Because I can't quite.
Oh, I went away.
Yeah.
Mushroom. You heard the ohm
while you were talking.
It was
talking about.
But it hurt. It was the loudest thing possible that it's because it was so loud that like it was everything kind of, but it was also a sound.
That's
and it was perfect.
The Bible starts.
Let me stop you right there.
The word.
Because when you take psilocybin, what happens is there's a regulation that happens, I believe, through your hippocampus, actually, in the middle of your brain. It's like an ear-shaped organ about that big in the center.
Yeah.
And that will coordinate the communication between your olfactory and your sense, all your different senses. So your sense of direction, smell, taste, sight, touch, will be regulated through there. But what starts to happen with psilocybin and with LSD is that central regulating faculty will go away, and your different sensory parts of your brain will start to communicate with each other without the central thing. So that's why you can have things like where you're experiencing the feeling of the sound, or people describe on LSD in particular, being able to taste color or feel a taste, or
synesthesia.
Synesthesia. Yeah. So really, if you're hopped up on this high dose of a thing and your brain's super active and stuff, that is almost like having certain kinds of seizures. Certain kinds of seizures will be a spasm between these, and
anamnesia. Sorry, that's what it's called. Anamnesia.
Anamnesia.
Okay.
Yes, that sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of a story. There was a woman, and as she got older,
Did
she
you
started
want
to
to
have
finish
these
your point though
kinds of
on
seizures, and
the
she
brain?
would.
Now,
Well, she,
wait.
go ahead.
Andrew
Everyone was-
interrupted you. Did you want to finish your point though on what you were saying about the
Oh
losing
yeah, absolutely. It's just
regulation?
building off what you were talking about. But this older woman, I remember it from my neuroscience class, and it always stuck with me. But she would start to have these kinds of seizures, and she would hear this particular song really loudly in her brain, as if it was being played to her. And what was happening, they did an MRI, and a certain area of her brain associated with auditory experience, the brain that's devoted to processing auditory information and passing it to the hippocampus to then receive emotional significance through the amygdala and form a short or a long-term memory there.
Yep.
Was firing. So it was just firing randomly there. So she kept hearing this song really loudly. So when you say, oh, I'm experiencing this sound that's so huge and so loud,
it's like your brain going fucking
it makes sense to me, because psilocybin limits, or it gets rid of the limitations in the firing.
Well, hold on.
I really have a long response.
So that's it.
But can
that's
people
it.
finish saying what they want to say? Are you a listener, or you're like a, hey, I just want to wait until it's my, like, I can say
I think, no, I get what he's saying.
Hey, it's all good. And Andy, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And let me just wrap up like this.
No, absolutely.
So,
I don't mean to let you wrap up. Go on.
No, you're all good. You're all good. So you're gonna get the stage 1 second. The schizophrenia and stuff is that sort of like spasmodic firing. You don't have a regulated brain through the central, and you're sort of always kind of tripping in a way.
Great.
And so,
you
know, people have these, and then it's like these wonky, like memory, voice, like auditory, visual sort of stuff happening, because the brain doesn't have that central regulatory thing sort of locked in.
Before Andrew speaks, because my thing is really quick, is I want to, so that sounds like that sounds like it makes an argument for the brain generating consciousness, because it can be
not really. I can see that side, but you know, that's a whole nother conversation too.
Okay, cool. Yes, exactly. So we don't have to dive into that right now. Andy, what did you want to say?
Okay, well, we're talking about two separate things. So the first thing I'll just address was the last point he made, which was the schizophrenic thing. And just the one point I want to make was that what you're saying could be true, but then how do you explain the studies about why schizophrenic quality hallucinations are different in different cultures? If it's just a misfiring of the brain, why is it that in India the certain misfirings happen to be different than in America, if the disease should treat everyone the same?
Yeah, so that's a question that I've heard before, and one answer that I heard was that receiving experiences and telecommunications from different deities is more accepted and welcome in a place like India, where you have a pantheon of gods where people routinely worship different gods.
Right.
So this could explain it. So then I'll say what you're saying is that because that people are more accepting of schizophrenics over there, and they're like, yeah, they just because they believe in them, not because they are receiving real stuff, but just because of the quality. Like, people in America are telling all the schizophrenics, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, and then this makes their brain neurons go like to the most negative places. But in India, people are saying like, we love you, like this is crazy, like you're a spiritual person and you're special. And so the neurons fire into more positive places. But it's still all out of whack. But like the people are affecting, you're saying the people are, okay, so that could make sense.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that would make intuitive sense to me, for sure.
Yeah, no.
Because, you know, the habits of your emotional interactions is going to shape your positive or negative, you know, everything, you know. So if you're in an environment that's telling you suck, fuck you, like, no, I'm not going to give you change, get the fuck out of here, cops throwing you in jail all the time, like, yeah, I would be tripping on some demons too, you know. But if I was in a place where it's like, oh, I can just like go to this temple and like chill, I don't know, I'm not Indian.
And like, if I don't want to eat a cow, I'm like the shit. Like,
okay, but
one
all right,
article
there's another part of this whole conversation I don't want to forget about.
So I don't really fucking know.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want to talk about shit that I don't really know, you know. But that's what I remember hearing about. So
yeah,
No.
no, for sure.
sense
Like,
to me.
if
Yeah.
you're in a society where it's like cool to like say you're a balloon and like you're getting blown up like a balloon and you're gonna float away, then of course when you take shrooms, you're like gonna be like, hey, I'm a balloon god, and people are like, that's so fucking dope. And
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
so
dude, can I put some air in you too?
yeah,
Wait, where's the
that's just
hole?
like your holy air.
Where's the? I don't think this is
Yeah.
the right hole.
Oh,
Not
but-
getting larger.
All right, you guys keep talking. I got to plug my phone in, anyways. But I want to take it back to the point where
take
Marvin
it
was
back,
talking
baby.
about this mushroom experience.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ohm. What you were saying is the ohm.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is a very key thing in all of this, because the way that Jay was describing that was he was trying to say, like, well, here's the scientific explanation for the mechanism and as to, you know, how that happens.
Yeah.
And
We don't see you now.
and my response to that is like, whoa. I think that you're really putting a lot of limitation. Like, okay, let me just explain. Like, I don't want to criticize as much as I want to explain my point.
You can criticize. It's fine. I mean, I'm not making a position one way or another on what you're about to say, and I kind of know
no,
where
I don't
you're
think so
going,
either.
and it's a good conversation to have. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's not
and
an
that's what I want
argument.
to focus on. No,
Yeah.
totally.
Even though
And
we
so,
might
like,
make arguments behind, you know, up front, but I
let
think we're
me
making
let me
arguments.
try to start, because I got to give a little bit of preliminary
I get you.
to where I'm coming
These are, you know, these are like very
So,
hard to talk about things.
I think that, like, every culture, especially like major culture, if we're talking about the Mayans, Egyptians, Romans, Greeks, Asians, Japanese, whatever, especially like in before we had the internet and mass communication, they all existed in their own kind of bubble and they all were successful, but they all had different beliefs, right?
Yeah.
About explanations about how the universe was created, why things work. But and everyone had different explanations, yet somehow they still were able to build amazing things. And so but they assumed they were right. And we have to realize, like, that's so much we're still in that same position. We like think our science is the true science and blah, blah, blah. But our science is completely different than Egyptian science, and we don't know how to build the fucking goddamn pyramids. And it's like, because they used a different science. And so what I'm trying to say is, like, now this is the preliminary thing. Now, when it comes to the Ohm, what is a crazy thing that all of these different cultures have in common?
Yeah.
When it comes to their Genesis stories, their cosmogonies, all of them, especially the major ones, tend to agree the origin of the universe starts with a sound.
Mm-hmm.
Whether God said the word and the word, you know, happened, or the Buddhists.
I definitely heard that sound. Like,
and
so
even the string theorists talk about that. It's vibration, sound. So I'm saying, like, this
that's definitely what it
has
felt like.
evidence that's
It's
a
so
real
beautiful. It was the like
that transcends cultures and science. We all find it.
like I long. It's like I put it this way, and like I really mean it. I long to hear it again, which is fucking crazy. Like, you know, like I long.
Well, it's God, of course. That's what I felt when I did ketamine. I was like, I got to go back.
Like, you know,
It was
because
insane.
it was like, but it hurt. I couldn't listen to it like I had to like kind of make myself listen to it, but also felt like it was gonna blow my head apart. So like literally,
That's it though. That's how you know it's the real experience.
yeah, and it because like every time I did, like I had to almost like kind of like, you know, if a stove was hot and you kind of like have to touch it, like you know, like that's like. But sometimes I like try to go for like more than like a few seconds, but it's like but it's also like more. By the way, let's wrap up in like 5 minutes or something so we can move on with our days. And then Jay, I'm down to.
I have a meeting I gotta get.
Yeah,
to.
let's go do some shit, man.
Well, we made some great progress, and so I think we got to a very good place. What I want us to do, actually, if I can propose this, is like watch this video and then use it to put together your characters, and I will help you, like, so that it's like us but an exaggerated version of us. Because Andrew, I think you, especially if you nail yourself, so that we can like put it to like a character, oh my god, it's gonna be so funny. Like, and I'll point out some, and then you guys can do this to me, like point out like just the quirks to make sure that we capture. Like, because when you like interrupt Jay, like when you're just waiting to say something and like you like light up, like it's like, okay, so the first thing I want to address is like, it's like, whoa, buddy, like if you can capture that in your character,
Yeah.
and of nuance.
Andy, there's this YouTuber that I found that uses like a drawn, like hentai style,
Oh yes.
like caricature of himself, and I almost messaged you and asked you, do you have a YouTube alter ego that I don't know about? Because the way that he talks is such an exaggerated version of you.
Wow, I didn't see it then. Like, I like
I'll-
already exaggerated. Like, I'm like, how
send
could
that.
it be more?
I'll send him to you, and you're gonna hate me. And it's also cringe that I even know that he
Send it to both
exists.
of us.
And it's beautiful. So yeah, I'll do that for you.
Send it to me too, please.
Nux something. I'll show you later when I see you later.
Good. Very cool. Well, I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll send them to you also.
We didn't talk about me as a character, but that's fine. We always want to talk
You
about.
still can? I'm more time. Like, I
Marvin.
still want to figure it out.
Well, it's just I think it's a good time to cut it, so that's the other thing. But
Yeah, we've been talking for a long time.
No,
Yeah.
but I still want to talk. I still want to talk.
I
don't
know,
think
but
it's
we got
okay.
to a great place, and
Joe Rogan goes for 3 hours. Shut up.
I know, but I want to move on to other stuff now too, and I wanna. I think we
Yeah,
got.
I can't keep abusing my car battery like this too. I do
Well,
this
no,
all.
but I mean that's okay. That makes sense. But Marvin's not abusing his car battery, so.
So he has to stay here forever. But yeah,
No, but like also you could have more than one character, dude. We don't have to be the same character every
no, I
time.
know that too. But but you're gonna have, I think, a go-to character. You know, and I
Yeah,
think like
it should be
or
probably
if not, even if right now we're not coming up with your go-to character like mine or whatever, it's like, and we're just coming up with characters, like just still we're thinking about.
Well, the King of Nuance has to be a go-to character.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That I think is like a key
It's
character.
just such a good character. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, yes, I want to play this role. It sounds fun.
Like it's either a star or co-star level. You know what I mean? If stars like shared, because come on, the King of Nuance operates in binary. You know, like um
Yeah, that could be on a T-shirt.
like on a nerdy T-shirt.
What do you guys want to do? Andy, you're drinking right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Marvin, what are you doing?
I'm just chilling.
You're just chilling?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna link up with you and do some work,
Great.
right?
Yeah.
Is there any space for Andy in that?
He never wants to do it, but yeah, of course, absolutely. I've been inviting him, like, but he doesn't want to.
So I'm on the Mesa, so I could swoop you, Andy, if you want to like get a little bit more, and then we could go over there. We could do some stuff.
You guys want
It's up to you. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what we're.
I
gonna do.
have
back?
so
Are
much
you gonna
music
give me
I've
a
written,
ride
and like
back?
having more ears on it to like help drive it to something good would be great because it's music outside of what I typically do.
Jay, are you gonna drive me back?
Yeah. I live on the Mesa.
What time?
When do you need to be back?
Oh no, not super late though.
I think
I
like
don't-
maybe 7 or so would be good, or like maybe a little bit
Oh,
earlier. Like,
yeah, no problem. I was thinking like can't be like 12 or something.
yeah, like because I have to work
Oh
tomorrow.
no, that's too late for me. Yeah, no, I would need to be, back.
I think like from now until like 8 or 8:30 would be
Dude,
good.
if you pick me up and
Man.
take me back, like that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
great.
8 o'clock is
Or earlier.
probably the latest that I could ever go tonight. I have
Yeah, or earlier.
I have a bunch of stuff that I need to
No,
do.
no pressure. Like earlier is
But I
actually
want to finish my beer. I mean, you can come over here. Like I'm on this tall can. But,
No, chug it.
Chug
okay.
it. Yeah, I think like we have some stuff that we can do. Like we'll like just figure some stuff out. It'll be fun. Like here's the thing about like starting to hang out and stuff with like a product in mind is that no matter what, it's gonna be productive in some way. So like we just have to like keep doing it and trying stuff and putting it together. Like you guys just helped me generate a video right now. This will be a fun, cool video that I
Yeah.
can might get people excited about this idea, you know?
So Andy, I'm coming over. I just don't want to sit there and watch you nurse a beer. So can you just kill it, or I'm just gonna go to Marvin's?
Fine. I mean, I don't know, whatever, just come over.
Okay.
Goodbye, guys.
See ya.